And that, of course, department is held in the presidency. It's good to have you. Thank you very much for coming to Morning Live.
Thank you, Leanne.
It's, well, you and I very quickly having a conversation of the demand that's happening on your department this month, and you're asking, is it always like this? Is it always like this? Has it always? I mean, in past, the demand for needing things and wanting you there and talking about women's issues, is it getting greater and greater?
Well, I think it's getting greater. It used to happen in the past, but I think the demand and the expectation, it's much more bigger than it was in the past. And I think it's a reflection of the interest in women issues in South Africa, but also it comes up with a challenge to say, if you see this demand, it's quite clear that awareness in South Africa around women issues, it's getting better. But also, the women are taking center stage in the South African environment. Hence, this month becomes very critical and important for us as we move forward in making sure that all sectors of the communities or of society in South Africa do indeed have programs. You know, it's exciting. You find women in business, various sectors, having activities. So the awareness program for women, it's getting more bigger in South Africa, which is exciting, but it also poses many challenges about the gains we've made over the past 20 years.
Amazing. You know, I'd like to just take a step back and talk about the President's decision to put the department within the presidency, the Ministry of Women. What does this mean? I mean, is this really just another indication that we're taking this issue much seriously and also making it a separate department?
Well, I must say that it shows that the presidency realizes that women are a critical component of our society. And if we really have to make sure that we take women serious, he decided that it must be in the presidency, but not only that, and making sure that it becomes a standalone. As you can see, children and disability have been removed from that portfolio. And part of my responsibility is to make sure overall in society we monitor, we evaluate, but also play an oversight role across the spectrum, because we must make sure that in all areas women are at the center. So that's why the President felt it's important for us, or for him, to elevate this portfolio to the presidency. But if we go back a bit in 2009, that's exactly what he did. But in the process, for whatever reasons it was changed to be a standalone department. But where we are in the presidency, together with monitoring and evaluation, and part of us and the monitoring and evaluation is to work closely, because we become an overarching department in South Africa. So part of our responsibility as Women Ministry, it's also to mainstream women issues. And for me, what is critical, if we have to take the women's struggle forward, it's about creating an environment where women can take care of themselves. And how do we do that? So the economy becomes the center of everything which we are going to do as government. Because if we are able to make women to take care of themselves by working, having businesses, and being able to self-sustain themselves, then it means women will be able to advance themselves better. So for me, that will be the priority. But also, we're looking at how government departments are engaging or taking issues of women better. And one of the areas which we're going to look at as government, it's the budgets of the various departments. I've said to the President, it cannot just be the responsibility of government, the empowerment of women. It must also be the civil society, the private sector. You know, if you listen to the statistics yesterday, I think done by some international studies on women overall in the world, it's very low. They were talking about women CEOs. We're having lesser women. So it shows that there's a bigger challenge for us in making sure that women participate equally in various sectors. And I say, if we have to do that, we also have to look at what are the inhibition or obstacles which makes women not to be able to advance their interest. Some of them, it's skilling. We must make sure women are properly skilled. And sometimes I even argue, why should you sometimes want to argue that for women to be successful, they need to compete with men.
Yeah, yeah.
And the benchmarking, it's very wrong. We have to compete with the best as women. Because if we compete with the best, then we know that we can excel. So this benchmarking of ourselves to say we must compete with men, sometimes we compete with apathy. Yeah. So we've got to look what is best in the world and then compete with that for us to advance as women.
And to move forward as a gender and do it together. I've been told I've got to wrap because I know that there is so much, but
okay.
I know that this year's theme is also incorporating and celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Women's Charter. Why? What is significant about the Women's Charter? Very quickly, if you can.
The Women's Charter in 1954, they signed the Women's Charter, which was talking about the right of women. What we have today, the right to vote, which is a fundamental, those are the women who identify the importance of a role of a woman in raising their voices. So in 1994, when the women voted in South Africa, it was because of those women in 1954 who recognized the fundamental importance of women participating and in making a choice when it comes to deciding who becomes their leader.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, if you think back, that's 60 years already.
Yeah.
You know, we can say that South African women certainly have got a lot of rights, but we still, when we look at rural women, when we look at gender inequality, when we look at violence and abuse against women, we've got a long way to go. But we're going to get you back in this month. I know you're busy, but we'll get you back in. Susan Shabangu is the Minister of the Presidency, the Minister of Women, which is in the Presidency. Thank you very much.
Let me also assist you, Leanne. Minister in the Presidency, responsible for women.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. You call it like it is. That's it. I love it. The women in the Presidency responsible for women. You look after the women, okay? Because with the men up there, we need you looking after us. We really do. All right, let's take a break here on Morning Live. We'll see you after the